Welcome to Claremont Lincoln University Commencement. I would like to take a moment to share with you something that was inspirational to me and hopefully will be meaningful to you. There is a new book out called Exit West, written by Mohsin Hamid. The story is ostensibly about the tribulations of refugees. And yet, in an interview, the author said, no, it really isn't about the tribulation of refugees. The message is about the experience of migration. The author says, we are all migrants. Even if you stay in the same place for your whole life, you are a migrant, for the world moves around you and you are forced to deal with change. As we move through our lives, we are presented with doors to pass through. Some open with kindness and some open with resistance, but always there is movement. Billions of people will move over the next 10 years. Movement arises from employment, transportation, communication. We are being pushed together in ways we've never experienced before. But Mr. Hamid urges, don't resist. Don't be fearful. Believe in the doors. So today, you are migrating to a new space. Your knowledge has increased. Your perspectives have broadened. Your ideas have multiplied. Don't look backwards. Don't hold on to the current. Imagine. Run. Make a difference.
Good morning. I learned many things in the Ethical Leadership program, and today I want to highlight two key lessons that are very relevant to our world today. First, lift others up. Leading isn't about getting all the glory or taking the credit. Whether we're leading or following, leaders have a responsibility to lift up others. Second, you can't do it alone. This is true of making change. It's true of leading others, and it's also true of getting a master's degree in ethical leadership. Leadership and change are not easy tasks. We must allow others to lift us up as well. Listen to their perspective and draw on their energy and strength to accomplish our goals.
I would like to express my gratitude to the Claremont Lincoln University faculty and staff for providing me with the opportunity to obtain my master's degree in Interfaith Action. Without the Global Peacemaker Fellowship, the dream to reach communities suffering with addiction would have been impossible. Through my time at CLU, I was able to obtain knowledge about diverse communities and beliefs. Each program provided a building block that opened me up by providing an insight to understanding different communities and individuals. My capstone project, titled Prescription Drug Abuse in the Muslim Elder Community, provided a bridge to reach Muslims communities suffering in shame due to their prescription drug addictions. This capstone seminar sought to serve a catalyst to raise awareness by encouraging community leaders to face the serious issue of prescription drug addiction by breaking the shame that fuels the silence and laying a foundation for conversations with the diverse local communities that will nurture collaboration, empowerment, and healing. CLU, thank you.
Aloha, esteemed CLU family and extended family. When I was a senior in high school, I sat my parents down to make a big, exciting announcement. My decision to double major when I got to college. A major in theater arts and a major in philosophy. That's perfect, my father exclaimed. You'll never be employed, but you'll always know why. Despite the bleak outlook for my financial income, I wanted to major in philosophy in the hopes it would make me wise. I always coveted wisdom because whenever I was grappling with a moral dilemma, my mother would reiterate an ancient Japanese adage. Wisdom without compassion, she would say, is like a one-winged bird. It can only fly in circles. And compassion without wisdom is also like a one-winged bird. It too can only fly in circles. Our programs here at CLU have affirmed the importance of the combination of wisdom and compassion. We have learned that in order to become great leaders, we must model the way with wisdom and humility. And in order to co-create positive, sustainable change, we must always begin with compassion.
Founding Chairman of the Board, David Lincoln, President Aranda, members of the board and the academic leadership team, and of course, the graduating class of 2017, we want to thank you all for allowing us to share this special occasion with you. What a lot of people don't know or don't remember is that in the 31 years that my dad led the movement, he suffered more setbacks than victories. There was more hitches in the road than straight lines. But each time that happened, he would get up and he would dust himself off and he'd go back to work. And so the lesson is clear to me. See, victory is ours when we persist. Victory is ours when we resist. And victory is ours when we refuse to give up. And I think it's that lesson, especially in today's world, where progress and justice is being challenged, that message comes home. And I think my father captured it best at the end of the 1972 fast in Arizona when he wrote, it's possible to become discouraged about injustice we see everywhere. But God didn't promise us a world that was humane and just. He gives us the gift of life and allows us to choose the way we use our limited time on earth. And so sometimes we can become discouraged, and sometimes we can wait around for the Savior to come and take care of our problems. And I think that sometimes maybe we look too high up and too far away for our liberators when the lessons and the example of my father and Dr. King and Gandhi are in front of us. That the solutions to our problems lie within our own communities, and they lie within the efforts that we put forward. You know, people who saw my father for the first time were always surprised by who he was. You know, they talked about hearing about Cesar Chavez, and they expected to see this man 6'2" with this booming voice, and what they found was a small, dark man with Indian features. He wasn't a great orator, and he didn't use big fancy words, and when he spoke, he told stories. But he spoke about a land that was more just and welcoming to all. He spoke about the hopes and aspirations of generations of poor people, and he spoke about our ability to determine our own future. And as he spoke, I think people looked at him and they looked at themselves and their people sitting next to him, and they said, if somebody like Cesar Chavez can make a difference, maybe we can. You know, he said all the time, he'd always said that his job as an organizer was helping ordinary people do extraordinary things. And perhaps that's why he succeeded where others with much more education and a whole lot more money failed for 100 years before him to organize farm workers. I think it's a measure of his greatness that he inspired hope and confidence in people that never had it. And he never, ever, ever gave up, regardless of the obstacles or the odds. And so when I look out today at today's graduates in the audience, I think maybe the next Cesar Chavez or Dolores Huerta or Dr. King are sitting here. And I know if my father was here, he would think so. And so I'd like to leave you with the phrase that came out of that fight in Arizona. It's a really liberating testament. And it really talks about the abiding faith in our movement, that it's within our power to shape this world. It's in our power to make a difference. And it's in our power to prevail through our own efforts. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Thank you very much.
So we're honored to be here, and as a part of the Alumni Association, I'm honored to work with our amazing students as we go back into the community. And as I think about why I'm here today and the reason why I started this particular program, I have to go to the why. And I have to go to the why, and each one of us has to ask that why. For me, the why is when I look at my two daughters, and I thank my two daughters and my wife who are sitting here today, who watched me go through this process, who encouraged me when I sat there and I was tired, when I would get up at 6 o'clock every morning to do this before taking our daughter to school. And I think about that why. That why comes from the time when I went on an Underground Railroad tour where I studied the heroism of people who wanted to escape to freedom. And I thought about my capstone, and I wanted to understand, what is it like to walk in their shoes? And as I held up slave shackles, I realized the shoulders that I was standing on. I realized the shoulders of these amazing people and what they had gone through. And I knew what my why was. And that's what my research was as I went through this. And I think about all the research that you guys did, and I'm so proud of you. But after that why, now I want to ask you what? What are you going to do next? It's not enough to stop with our e-portfolios. It's not enough to stop with our projects. We have to continue on. Mr. Chavez, thank you so much for all the work that you do, because what you inspired us to understand is that what has to continue on into the next generation. And congratulations, class of 2017.